All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Football Focus Weekly. We are in week one. As always, we are sponsored by Victory Chevrolet. We're just $19 down. We'll deliver any new or pre owned vehicle in stock. Make sure you visit Victory Chevrolet. I need to change my settings here. There we go. Sorry for that little feedback. I'm just learning how to do this. I still have feedback. That's weird. Anyway, we're going to run the intro and we'll be right back.
Jeez, man.
All right. Welcome once again to Football Focus Weekly. We're getting off to a bumpy start tonight because there's been a lot of stuff going on here today. Well, actually, this week. I'm coming to you with no AC in a new house, which is very frustrating. So, excuse my sweat because I had to turn the fan off because I was getting feedback on that. And then we had a window open. That's why we had feedback earlier. But anyway, we are finally to week one of the season. And I am the pet man, Matt Morrow. Appreciate you guys being here as always. If you didn't watch last week's show, we had a lot of fireworks, to say the least. A lot of things on the Charlotte show, which every year, it gets bigger and bigger. And last week did not disappoint. And once again, I want to stress none of that was planned. So if you didn't see it, make sure you go back and watch the playback. Mainly toward the end of the show, we had a couple of guests in West Charlotte head coach Sam Griner and Huff defense coordinator Chachi Sullivan. And let's just say it was entertaining. So with that being said, there's 4 comments. Oh, now 5 comments. So let's see what we got here. The Dudley boys in the house. Good to see you. Who y'all got week one, man? Let me know. We're gonna preview a number of games in this show. And I like to know who y'all play because I'm not sure. I apologize. Let's see here. Karen Belk, yeah, we got it figured out though. We're all good. Summer Blevins, good to see you as always. James Law. I don't think this week is gonna be like last week. Oh, Antonio Broom weighing in. Yeah, that definitely happened last week. So I don't expect any of that tonight. It'll be a much shorter show as well. Last week was almost 3 hours. And, that's not how we operate. That's not what we do here not on a regular basis. So, anyways, so some of the guys have obligations tonight. Kenneth the Engine, they have a, JV game against North Mech, which should be close to being over now. So that's why he's not here. And then Big Eye, Adam, they have practice getting ready for Gaffney on Friday. So that's why he's not here. So we'll roll with whoever we got here. And we got two guys here. So we're going to I'm going to introduce you to them now. The head coach at Mountain Island Charter, Robert Washington. We call him Coach Dub.
What's going on, Pep?
Oh man, I'm dealing with a lot. How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. Just week one.
Yeah.
Ready to kick the season off.
You guys ready?
Yeah. We're gonna be at this point. Are we ready?
Who y'all got?
Fred T. Ford.
All right. Good deal. And that's a home game?
That's gonna be a home game. That's actually gonna be our military appreciation night, because we always like honoring the military. Like as long as I've been at Mountain Island, we always do a military game, because I always want our athletes, our community, to put everything in perspective and kind of honor the real heroes, the ones that keep us safe and protect us. So salute to all our servicemen and women out there. Appreciate everything y'all do.
Absolutely. That's good stuff, man. All right. We also got the producer, Brandon Black, here after a 3-week vacation hiatus. He is back on the show.
Nah, man, maybe two. I mean, people are busy out there, so you viewers watching, y'all are stuck with me tonight. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But it's game week. I'm excited. I might be watching from behind the camera, but very much excited. All the sweat, all the up downs, all the Oklahoma drills. It's all come down.
No, they don't do those no more. No more.
I was going to say drills, but allegedly. But anyway, not when the camera's watching. They don't. All right. It's all come down. Man. Excited.
Good stuff. Coach Doug, Karen Belk, wishing you good luck, and appreciate you honoring the military. There you go.
Hey, appreciate you, Ms. Belk. If you ever free, y'all got a bye week, stop on by the island. You're welcome anytime.
There it is. Erin also says that's awesome, and she loves Mountain Island Charter. All right.
Appreciate you, Erin. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. And Brandon Hunt says, respect us. That's talking about Huff. So, there you go. I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate Coach Dub for being honored this past weekend. Coach Dub, tell us what happened.
Well, I got inducted into the 2025 HBCU Living Legend Hall of Fame, which I was inducted as a graduate. I got my undergrad at Fayetteville State University in sociology. I thought it was, it was surreal. Like I told you guys, when I got the news, I actually got the news back in February, and I was still like in shock until we actually went through the process of being honored. I mean, I was up there with former Olympic stars and mayors, CEOs, professional athletes, and here I am, just a guy that just wanted to give back to my community and doing what I love to do. Just a everyday guy that's up there with all those, what I consider superstars. So the one thing I would stress is the things that got me selected for that is the things that no one sees me do. And that was my point to my kids. It wasn't about just, talking about myself, but more so letting them know, like, the things that got me selected and inducted into the Hall of Fame was the community work I do. I mean, a lot of people don't know how much work that I do, my wife do, my family do within the community, where I won't post about it, I won't talk about it. Pep, I've never mentioned it to you. it's just stuff that we do within the community. So I always tell, any student athletes out there or anyone out there, remember, it's the stuff you do when no one's watching it what counts. So this is stuff that I didn't need any glory for. I didn't need a post. I didn't need a pat on the back or an attaboy. That's the stuff that got me in the Hall of Fame. So shout out to HBCU Living Legend Hall of Fame. Ms. Cheryl Littlejohn was actually the one that nominated me originally. Also, Mr. William Harrison. But check that out. They gave out over 20-something scholarships to students that was going off to a HBCU. So I think it's a good cause. But Google it, check it out. HBCU Living Legends. Support it. We donate it. Other people donate it because it's going directly to the kids, and that's the biggest thing.
Awesome. Congratulations, man. And you got some people congratulating you here. Let's see. Stephanie Reynolds, your teen mom. There you go. More Than Football. And then Karen Belk shouting you out as well. And Luke Zabo, excuse the mistype there. He corrected it, but yeah.
Okay. Thanks to everyone. Like I'm gonna reiterate, and I'll let it go after this, but be intentional about helping others. Nothing that we do in life is just for us. Be intentional about helping others from the heart, not to be seen or showcased and stuff, because eventually the spotlight, the impact should be bigger than the spotlight. So be intentional about helping others, because what they say, each one teach one, right? Is that the same?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we definitely need that now.
Absolutely.
More than ever. All right. Well, on the docket for tonight, we got a few different things. I have a couple discussion topics. I'll talk about getting teams ready when school starts. There's a big adjustment that has to be made when school comes back, and you try to balance football with the classroom. And we know we all talk about football, but the classroom is very important because you can't go anywhere in football without the classroom. And then the second discussion topic requested by Coach Dub, talking about developing versus acquiring talent. And we'll kind of delve into that when we get to it here shortly. And then we'll also have the Dirty Dozen debut, which is our regional rankings. Well, I say our, it's mine. It's my regional rankings. I'll get that clear now. And it's comprised of, area counties, Cleveland, Gaston, Mecklenburg, Union, Cabarrus, and Iredell this year. We'll do some week 1 game previews and analysis, and then we'll talk about Pet Man players because it'll be back once again. And then me and the producer will be at Bank of America Stadium on Friday for the Keep Pounding Classic. We just got approved. So that was a bit of a process. And then Saturday, I'll be at Memorial Stadium. Shaquan will be at Bank of America Friday, and I don't know what you guys are doing Saturday. I hadn't asked you yet. So,
if you approve the overtime, I'll be there.
Overtime? You ain't even got. You done had like 3 weeks PTO. What you talking about?
So what's happening? Something's happening. Oh, there we come back.
Anyway, so if you see us, say hello. As always, it's always good to meet everybody who watches the show, whether you're under your real name or an assumed name. We know. Anyway, all right. Let's see here. Let's get into it. All right. So topics. First of all, talking about getting back into school. School starts. Some schools have already started, and for Charlotte, school starts on Monday. So integrating football when school starts, obviously, we're talking about practice times changing, interactions in the school, all those things. Obviously, we have a head coach here. So, Coach Dub, what really changes when school starts, and how do you integrate football and school, at the same time?
Well, a lot of what we do in the summer, we practice later because of the heat. So our practice times move a little bit. So we versus ending at 8:30, we end at like 6:15. So pretty much the biggest thing we do is try to preach to our boys that kind of get them out of the shenanigans of the summer and
Oh yeah.
being a full day versus you reporting at a certain point in the summer. So just talking the kids up. One of the biggest things that we do, I start getting my boys prepared like as soon as we start summer workouts, like just talking to them. So we do something right before our first official practice. It's like the week before. We do something called character camp. So I bring in guest speakers and stuff like that. Pep, you came one year and you spoke to our group. So
I guess I wasn't good because I wasn't invited back.
Now you was great. You was great. But we try to show them different things. Like we'll teach our boys how to tie ties, different etiquette stuff that is outside of football. But then we also bring in our academic coordinator. Miss Tosin, Tanya Tosin. So the luxury of having an academic coordinator that's also an assistant principal of the school, and she comes and talks and she works behind the scenes and assists those kids to be able to transition. But also, I got a cheat code where I'm also a guidance counselor. So a lot of these kids I'm registered for online courses. So, we could talk about, class schedule, what should I take versus what shouldn't I take, different things like that. Like we'll talk about that before and after football practice. And in certain situations, I have a kid, Coach, can I drop this class like in the middle of practice? I'm like, dude, just run it. So it's kind of built in our program. So it's not really any real adjustments when school comes in because a lot of the school leadership with Ms. Tosin and myself, we're already within the school. And then obviously my brother's on staff and he's over in ISS. So he's pretty much, I don't want to see you. So ISS is actually in our classroom. So a lot of our kids know they don't want to go and see Coach Dubs, both Coach Dubs. So that's pretty much how we do.
Good deal. One of the things when I was coaching was making sure you eat. Eating during the day was very important because these guys would go all day. They, play and mess around during lunchtime. And then they get to practice, and they out there, they're sluggish and, they're not performing. And I'll ask them, did you eat today? Nah, Coach, I didn't eat today. How you going to get out here and try to go hard for 2 hours and you ain't got no energy in your body, So making those smart decisions and preparing yourself, eating breakfast, eating lunch, getting enough rest at night, sitting in the front of the classroom, being ready to pay attention, and then helping throughout the school, because we all know there's going to be times where something happens and a teacher is going to make a decision, should I, do this or should I do that? Depending on the relationship they have, not only with the student, but, I know when you coach Dub, your relationship with your teachers and everything is very strong. And, so those teachers may come to you and say, so-and-so is doing this in class and I don't want to report it. I want you to handle it. And then, those relationships are very important. So the other part of it is the social aspect, kind of like what you were talking about, realizing that, playtime is over. We got to be serious. We got to be focused. We got to be ready to go in the classroom and in the hallways and getting to places on time and all that stuff, So a lot of this stuff is more than just football, like you were talking about teaching guys how to tie a tie and, all that stuff. It all relates back, to the workplace. And, for producer, you work in the corporate world. How do the things you learn playing football and balancing that in school tie into what you do now?
Well, definitely being part of a team, for one, working as a unit. In the corporate world, you're rarely doing anything by yourself. There's always someone. There's a chain. There's someone working alongside you. There's someone you report to above you. You can see it's like a coaching relationship. So being able to communicate well with your peers, for one, because that's all football is when you're on the field. Communicating, receiver communicating with his quarterback, communicating defensive signals and stuff like that, communicating while on defense, making adjustments. It's the same. It's really the same thing, man. Like we have to make changes on the fly. We have to be able to talk well with each other. And I think those are skills that just transcend sports. Kids need to know how to communicate. They need to know how to work as part of a team. If you're going into the workforce, there's entrepreneurial and things like that where you could work solo, but in the workforce, you're going to have to work with someone. You might have people reporting to you, but you might be reporting to somebody. It could be both, where you're in a chain of command and you need to know how to communicate and work well and make adjustments. That's literally what football is, making adjustments. You might think you're going to do one thing, but you got to make a quick adjustment once you get lined up, and that's literally what the workforce is sometimes. So that's the biggest thing to me, man, to take away from sports, communicating for sure. Yeah. And discipline and being prompt and dealing with the consequences if you're not prompt. I'll add that in there too. So coach says practice starts at this time. Okay, you can show up late, but you know what happens if you do. And just like in the corporate world, yeah, you might get away with it once. Someone saw you though. Don't think you just got away with it. So holding yourself accountable and being prompt also. Those things transcend sports and good skills for kids to take with them in their adult lives.
Absolutely. Coach Dub, last word on this.
Yeah, I always say I coach life, because that stuff, life and football runs parallel. It's no better sport than football to be able to teach those life skills. And sometimes we can get caught so much on just giving those kids football that we're not worrying about the life skills. Like I see a bunch, man, and you see Pep. We just talked about rankings a couple of weeks ago, but when these rankings come out and you see these coaches posting, but those same coaches is not holding those kids accountable in the classroom. They're not, supporting them where it really matters, because at the end of the day, who really cares about rankings? I actually made a post that, let's not worry about your athletic ranking. Let's worry about where you rank at in your class, right? Let's worry about your GPA, worry about stuff like that. And what I've learned in my career, Pep, is if you coach life, the football's easy because the kids know that you love them and you buying into them. Right. I mean, whenever you talk to my boys, you see how they face light up when you talk about, man, he care about me outside of this, because I'm intentional about building relationships with my boys. That's genuine. I'm not talking about some rah slogan out there hot at football practice, be screaming out, we family. I really mean, like, my boys are like family. Like the team I got this year, it's interesting because a lot of those boys I watched grew up from kindergarten, first grade, and someone was in my football enrichment program when it was kindergarten, first, second graders. So I really watched those kids growing, and some of them I've coached their brothers. I've coached their siblings, like Ms. Reynolds that comment. I coached all 4 of her sons. So at this point, it's family. It's family. For the last 11 years, I've been coaching her kids for the last 11 years. And at that point, it's family. And that's what it is. I'm always be in those kids' lives, or any kids that I coach that need me there or want me there, I'm going to always be there. So with that being said, the kids that handle their business in the classroom, that's respectful, that translates to the football field. Those are the players that learn plays and can catch on quick and can make those adjustments that B talked about. So I would say life and football runs parallel. So let's not cheat these kids. If you coach a life, and this is to my younger coaches, lock in on a human being. Don't get locked in on the X and O's, because when you drawing up a play, remember those are human beings that's running those plays.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Hey, Matt, one last little statement that he made me think of about, taking school serious and things like that along with football, that in my mind is just the truth. High school football produces more doctors, lawyers, executives, mechanics, truck drivers, corporate employees than it does NFL players. So that's where those skills transcend into life. There's more than the things you learn during football can take you past football. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Dub, you wanted to add something else?
I want to talk about student athletes' mental health. So what I recently did, because I probably was one of the first people in this area that had an academic coordinator and a recruitment coordinator. Because I remember everyone's laughing like, what the heck is an academic coordinator, right? And that academic coordinator was someone that was respected, that was outside of our actual football staff. Because you see a lot of times you got the DB coach as the academic coordinator or the linebacker coach. That's impossible because you're going to always mix in football. Our academic coordinator, Ms. Tolson, she don't care about no football. She care about your grades. Look, if you fail several classes, you're not playing. So, and obviously the recruiting coordinator came up because I did that role prior to being the head coach. So I had to hire someone. Obviously, that person was Chris Hawk, that's coaching college down in that role.
Yeah.
So people laughed at us when we started that, but then I started seeing people come up with these titles. Well, it's something else for people to bite, right? I started something called mental performance coach or coordinator. And the mental performance coach is pretty much the wellness check coach. So my brother actually do it, and he does phenomenal with it. But we meet with those kids before practice. So we meet when the bell rings. They got a safe place to come talk to us. Because the thing is, obviously, you got guidance counselors that's there, right? But sometimes kids are comfortable talking to their coach. I remember having a kid, and it was a JV game. He was playing in a JV game, and it was a team that we should have beat, right? I was like, this kid's going to have 5 touchdowns. And the kid threw 3 picks. And I'm like, what in the world going on? And he just had a real bad game against a not so good, a team that we should have beat. And I talked to him. He said, man, my mom yelled at me because I lost my phone. Something that small rattled that kid and impacted the game.
Yep.
And I said, you know what? We got to check this. So I said, we got to do wellness checks on our athletes. I'm not talking about out there on the football field. I'm talking about being intentional about sitting down, listening to them, looking them in the eyes, and making sure their mental health is in check. Because it don't matter what you draw. You could be Bill Belichick. You could drop the best scheme or whatever. But if that kid ain't right, going back to what I mentioned about understanding as human beings, not X and O's. Like I could drop all the plays I want to, but I got to recognize like, hey, this kid runs his slant a little different than that kid. You get what I'm saying? Or this kid just broke up with his girlfriend. So it's something on his mind. Or this kid, mom, he just fell out with his father. Or I had a kid a couple years ago. His father had just left the house. So his life was spiraling out of control. But if I didn't sit down and talk with him, I couldn't help him grow through those moments and get back to the point where he was functioning within that trauma, right? So we looking at these kids as just athletes and just go out there, perform, run, fetch, catch for us. But as coaches, we're more than that. We have to recognize our role. We got to understand that we can impact generations. Like I told you, I coached 4 kids from the same family. I've impacted that household. But going back to the mental performance coach, that's what that coach is there for. So when our coaches, my DB coach, my DC, my OC, my other coaches that don't work in the building, when they come on campus, those kids are ready mentally and they're ready physically to be coached. Because the last thing you want is kids going through the motions and coaches yelling at them, not knowing that this kid's at home dealing with something beyond our understanding. And you keep yelling at him versus this kid, if he's going through something, I'm pulling my DC or my OC aside and say, hey, so-and-so's experiencing this, let's lay off of him.
Yeah, so, and that's a really good point because, and I'll tell you, for years, coaching at Harding and Waddell, 2 inner city schools, and we started doing this at Harding, we would pull a group of kids in the office once a week and just talk to them, and there are things that these kids deal with that you would not believe, A lot of these kids, from the inner city perspective, they have to become men before they're even men. They can't even be kids, because they have to make decisions of going to practice versus going to work and providing for, a single parent home where the parent, can't work because, child care issues, or they're physically unable to work, or there's a situation where they have a baby on the way and they've got to, go and get ready to support that. It could be any number of things, that kids deal with. And I'll tell you, from inner city school perspective, man, it was absolutely, heartbreaking sometimes. I mean, we would shut the door and a kid would just break down, not even saying anything. They would just break down from the pressure that they're going through, all the things that they have to deal with. And the fact that then they're angry because they don't even have the chance to be a kid. They don't even have the option to go play college football, because they have to take care of family. So it can be a lot, for sure.
And Pep, that's why we have to be intentional as leaders, no matter if athletic directors, coaches, to hire men and women that reflect how your team looks. And I can tell you, and what I mean by that, I don't come from much. I come from the inner city. I come from struggle. So it's easy for me to relate to that. But it's some guys that can't relate to that because they might not come from the same circumstances. And it's no blame on them. It's just they don't come from those same dynamics. Like I got kids that I can't relate to on the team. I don't come from that type of dynamic. So I'm intentional about hiring men and women that reflect what my team looks like. So at no point, at any point, a kid can go to a coach, on the staff that can give them advice from that perspective. Just because I'm the head coach don't mean every kid can relate to me, but you hire good men that those kids can look up to. And I go through it all the time. Like, well, my early stages of my career, coming into the county that I'm in, a lot of these teams look the same way. You get what I'm saying? They look the same way. And I think my staff challenged that way of thinking because we didn't look one way or the other. We just looked like good men. It didn't have a religion to it, didn't have a race to it, it didn't have anything to it other than I want to hire the best man for this job. I didn't have any criteria what I was looking for. Just number one, you have to have a good heart. You have to care for kids. And then we'll get to the football, right?
Right.
So at any point, those kids can come and talk to a man that can understand or relate. And I'm not talking about sympathy. I'm talking about empathy because there's a difference. People don't understand the difference. Being empathetic for someone is a whole different ball game. So to my leaders out there, I challenge you guys, if you don't know and you're coaching kids that maybe you don't come from those same neighborhoods, hire someone that they can relate to. In many cases, coaches feel intimidated because some of those players get close with those kids. Then they get intimidated by it. But man, a true leader can identify those issues and put people in right places. So that's what I want to add to that.
That's why you're in the Hall of Fame, man.
All right. Some good comments. I want to highlight this one. Karen Belt talking about the engine does a good job modeling character for his kids. Yeah. What Karen's referring to is there was a comment that I think it was the media day photographer said that the Rocky River team did not use any profanity during the media day shoot, and he was impressed by that. So one of the things that they're doing over there is no profanity this year. So that's just one example, of what we're talking about here. So number 2, Coach Dove, I'll let you drive this one, but talent acquisition. I can't believe we're talking about it, but we've seen, this happen, and we're talking about, player movement. We use that word. But has that become just as or more important than talent development from a coaching perspective?
I mean, my personal opinion, and what drove this is a conversation I had with the Highland Tech head coach, Coach White. Shout out to Coach White. Is because we was on a weather delay, so we had time to go in, and our staffs was in the same hallway. We just started chopping it up. And one of the things we pointed out, like at some of these smaller schools, we have to coach. We really have to coach. So, for example, if you're at a smaller school where you might have 40, 50 kids on a roster, and you might be one or two deep at certain positions, possibly two if you're good. Your starting receiver is probably your starting DB or corner, whatever the case may be. So if that person goes down, guess what? You're replacing two players. So when you're looking at these teams like a Highland Tech or the Bessemer Cities or the Mountain Island Charter, some of these smaller schools that you're not familiar with, or Corvians or any of these schools, we're smaller schools that we really have to coach. We can't make examples of kids. I mean, because in certain schools, they could go 3-4 deep. I mean, they got talent on JV. I mean, they're cutting kids from JV. And I'm not talking about any particular school because I know West Charlotte just cut a bunch of kids, but I'm not referring to just them. But I'm referring just period. How much does this have to do with you actually being deep in your positions or you coaching? Because I'll look like a genius, right? If I had DBs that was 4 and 5 stars or receivers that's 4 and 5 stars, right? That how much coaching is involved in that? And I'm not poo-pooing anyone. What I'm saying is sometimes the talent will make you right.
Oh yeah,
the talent will make you right.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I use us as an example because everyone, y'all got a ton of talent. Me and Beatty actually had a conversation at the state championship, and he was like, "Man, y'all got a bunch of talent at Mountain Island." Talk about our track team. I said, Beatty, like I build it through track. Our football and track program's the same because it's not one year I haven't had speed, Pep. Think about it. At some point, you have to develop them. So I developed a lot of our talent. Shout out to Brandon Isaac, which is our head sprint coach. I mean, he's a phenomenal track coach, like one of the best in the state. But with that being said, though that speed is developed through track. So by the time we get to the football stuff, you're going to see fast and explosive kids. But part of that is development. Like we talk about Reggie Daniels that's at Johnson C. Smith, and I wish his father, he's probably watching the show. But when we first got Reggie from Mallard Creek, Reggie would catch a slant and fall down. He didn't have any coordination. But what we did, we started building him through track. Start building his coordination. And not only did he developed into a state champion hurdler within a calendar year of doing hurdles for the first time, and also became one of the top prospects in the area. And obviously, Johnson C. Smith's got a steal. I think you mentioned that, Pep.
Oh, yeah.
And God willing, I mean, you'll see a lot of him this year for Johnson C. Smith as a sophomore. But when we got him from Mallard Creek, and I'm just using Mallard Creek because that's where he come from, I'm not assuming anything about that program because I got to be clear because I don't want no one getting in their feelings. But at that point, he wasn't developed. You get what I'm saying? But we had to develop him. At a small school, he came to us as a receiver. Reggie was just as good as a safety as well. So when we're knocking some of these smaller schools like the Highland Techs, where you're saying, well, they don't got no talent. They actually got talent up there. But sometimes kids are so tired because they go in both ways, they can't be featured and highlighted in one position. Because I could take 3 or 4 kids. I told you, it was 3 or 4 kids from that team that can start at any program in the area. You get what I'm saying? If they were just focused on one position.
Well, I want to bring this to the acquisition part because I think everyone, as a coach has gone through those stages where they have to develop talent, even if they were just a position coach. I'm just thinking about some of the guys that are coaching now. There was always a point in their, growth where they, proved themselves by developing talent and getting, those kids better. But I think the other side of the coin is, if they have a chance, to, pick up somebody. I've heard several coaches say they're not going to turn anybody away.
But Pep, think
Oh.
about where you're going with that. Is because let's be honest, you got schools picking up kids. Are you picking up kids because it's the lack of you're trying to replace something, or are you picking up kids that develop?
We've had this discussion before, and I think it's two things. One, you see a lot of acquisition happening at places that win. And we talk about it all the time. Players go into another school. Do they instantly become better, and does it help their recruiting or anything like that? And most of the time, what we say, it doesn't. Nothing really changes. They're on the same level that they were before when they left wherever they were coming from. The other part of it is, and I hate to say it because some are watching, but parents. I mean, I think some of these parents just want to be a part of the show, to be honest with you. And they drive some of this movement. And I say it all the time. A player can't go anywhere unless the parent is behind it. Like, a player, there are plenty of players that want to go places. And I hear it all the time. There are kids that want to go to certain schools, and the parents hold the power. And some parents want that spotlight. They want the chance to go on social media and brag and talk junk and all that. And it's just being real. And we know some of this stuff is started by schools or whatever, but I think the majority of it is more so driven on the other side. And like I said, any good program is going to accept anything that comes this way, whether they go out and seek it or whether it just comes to them. And I think a lot of the time, the programs that win have that flow coming to them. And we talked about this a couple years ago. It's the youth football mentality that's going into high school now. It's the same thing that happens on those levels. Yeah, everybody wants to be a part of the winner. They want to be a part of the show. And then they drive all of this movement that happens.
And Pep, winning aside, because the winning, it tracks itself. Like some programs market themselves. We're not talking about the programs that market themselves. But we both know behind the scenes is always kids being pushed different places. We know, we hear the rumblings and stuff like that. We won't call nobody out because that ain't the point of this. What I'm really alluding to is if you have a kid that's been in your program 9th and 10th grade year, right? They play JV like you supposed to play. And you're working hard, you develop, the coaches teach you, you're doing everything the coach you need to do. And then you get to 11th grade and there's a transfer coming. You get what I'm saying? That might be more talented. Are you going to go with what you develop, or are you going to go with that kid that's already ready?
We know the answer to that question in most programs.
But that's my point. That we got to put more emphasis. And the best example I can use is in my own household. Like my son Justice, he played JV in 9th grade. He played JV in 10th grade. He had to go through that process. And by the time he came up to varsity in 11th grade and started, broke the school record, scored a bunch of touchdowns. But that doesn't happen without that JV process, because not only was he able to develop physically and learn what we need him to do, he also developed leadership skills because he had to lead the JV. 10th grade, he was our captain. So it was easy for him to come up to varsity as a JV captain, already having those skills in his toolkit. So by the time he got in his junior, senior year, it was easy. Are we skipping those steps right now? Is the bigger question. So like me, I typically lean, and I'm just saying me as a coach, and I'm at a much smaller school than some of these larger schools, but the coach in me, if I got a kid playing 9th, 10th grade JV for me, in 11th grade, if it's a kid that might be slightly better than them, I'm going to lean towards that kid that's been in my system. Why?
Well, and let me stop you right there, because that choice right there is in the minority.
Unfortunately,
that's why I wanted to discuss the topic. Like, how much, because this kid don't waste 2 years with you, and I'm just gonna play a kid that's like just because they're ready. You get what I'm saying? Like, I take pride as coaches. We should take pride in seeing that kid develop all the way through.
I think coaches do that, but at the same token, you have to play the one that's going to give you the best chance to win.
See, in Coach Dub's example there, it sounded like the kid that just got there was only slightly better than the kid he's been grooming.
If they head over
about a big gap, so that's a different conversation. I think when there's a huge gap, I think.
Yeah,
if they're close, you can go that route. Oh, he bounced. But anyway, yes, he'd had enough. But I'll chime in. I think it's unfortunate, but yeah, talent acquisition has become basically even with talent development. And I think this is why it's so important to have a good, strong JV program, put some emphasis, because we see it. Some programs out there, the JV is just kind of on the wayside. It's there. They don't put as great an emphasis in it. But then I think successful programs put a lot of energy and attention into the JV, because, like you say, that's your incubator. That's where you're getting the kids ready to come up. So, and I'll relate it to like cooking. A good chef can cook a good meal with what he has on hand, whatever ingredients he can come up. He'll come up with something. You see little TV shows where they open a basket, they got whatever's in there, and they got to come up with something. Or is it chopped? Same example. They'll take what's there and be successful with it. We have seen successful teams that weren't super, super deep and still make nice runs in the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs without being 100 kids deep. So it can happen. But unfortunately, this culture has been created where, you got this unofficial portal out there where, you got parents that want to get their kid. They feel like if they can get their kids at this school, his chances are better. The culture has just gotten to that point where coaches might say, hey, if I don't have someone ready, we'll see what comes my way. And, it's kind of, let's just be honest. What if a team needs someone and they knocking on the door, what coach is going to be like, nope, you need to stay over there and at the bench. It's not going to happen.
Nobody.
It's not
going to turn it down.
I would never be a hypocrite and say, if I need a quarterback and, a 3 or 4 star kid comes knocking on my door, I'm going to say, no, you stay right over there where you at. No, let's just be honest. We got to be realistic at the same time. But unfortunately, it's just that culture is being created. So I don't know if you can shut that door now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing, putting more emphasis on our JV program, our JV development. We don't talk a lot about the JV programs out there. And like you said, B, some of these programs are just throwing the JV as something to do, just to have bodies. Like I use myself as the best example. When you coach varsity here, you got to coach JV and varsity. Now, obviously, we break off. I got a different coordinator, but we coach them all together because we want them to know, like, hey, we care about you the same. And pretty much we practice them together, and then around Wednesday we'll break them off, and they'll do their own thing, and then they'll play a JV game. But you got to show that same emphasis, because I can tell you who potentially could be my quarterback in the next 2 years, because I can see him right now. We're developing him right now in 9th grade. You get what I'm saying? So I don't have to expect a transfer to come in because they're not getting in. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real. I'm not expecting a transfer to come in and save the day. I got the kid right here. You get what I'm saying? And even certain situations, we got a middle school. I'm looking at down there, what you got down there. I can identify those kids when they come up. So you're not just another number. Your development, I'm taking, like, I'll give you another example with JV. A lot of our JV, like they did a little film today or whatnot, we're sitting down, we're breaking down film with them, we're talking to them. So it's a vested interest with those kids. You can trust them. So that's why I say if a kid comes in and it's close, I'm going with the kid that I've spent hours and hours and hours and years with because he understands my thinking. He knows my approach. It's no different than going to college. The ones that's more familiar with the playbook will play. The ones that understand it will play. And sometimes that stretches beyond talent. And I know high school and college, that was a good example, but y'all get my point where we got to start investing more into our JV programs and not just the flash of varsity. Because
I totally agree with you on that one, man. And you know, I want to wrap this because we gotta move on. But in the comments, there's a lot from Mr. Billups, who is now here. But he had a good point here. I gotta find it. There's a lot. Anyway, it was along the lines of, you know, the levels of football, depending on the pressure that you have of where you're at. Like in Charlotte, for example, there's pressure to win. You know, there's pressure to win at the highest levels. You're always in the spotlight. There's expectations, things of that nature. And that, you know, playing a transfer versus a developed kid becomes a very tough decision. When you're under that kind of pressure, you know, and under that microscope, so to speak. All right, let's go to our next thing here, which is the best of last. These are my rankings for week one. I put these out on Instagram already. You know, we talked about rankings, and you know, it's funny that we always say that they're an opinion, they don't mean anything. The messages I get tell me they mean something to somebody. I won't say from who, but I got multiple messages when this was
I'm
posted.
sure.
And it's funny, you know, and one of the people told me, well, people respect your opinion, and I appreciate that. But once again, everything is settled on the field, you know. I made a change at 1. I moved Huff above West Charlotte, and that was based directly on feedback I received from coaches. I'll share that. I ain't putting no names out there, but that's feedback I received, you know. And I trust, you know, certain people, not everybody, when I receive information. And that's why, you know, that change was made. And then you see some of the changes were made, you know, based off observation. The main one I want to highlight is Valentine Ridge. I saw them in the Jamboree over at Jam Robinson last week. And they tied Southeast Guilford 7-7. They forced 3 turnovers on defense, one which would have been a pick 6, but it got called back, you know, due to a holding penalty. And the touchdown they gave up was a fumble, and Southeast Guilford ran it back for a touchdown. So they didn't give up any points. They are much improved. They are very sound on both sides of the ball, and that's why they moved up 4 spots. And then, you know, I got good reports on North Mac, you know, about their scrimmages. Myers Park, I have some good information come in on them as well as Independence. You know, obviously Ty and Weddington last Friday in their scrimmage. Now, I'll say, you know, scrimmages are not the end-all, be-all. You know, some of it's about learning, you know, how some of their players are looking and, you know, how the fit's going and all that kind of stuff. So, all that being said, what do y'all think about the first season that's best of last?
I think people need to remember this is all based on, a lot of this anyways, based on potential. What should happen, who should be successful. But we know, you know, if you don't, somebody doesn't like where they are, do something about it. Move up. You know, it's all gonna play out in the end anyway. It's all gonna play it out in the end. It's all gonna get settled on the field. So this is just a prediction. We'll see how it plays out.
And this will change every week, you know, for those that
it's fluid. What'd you say, Pep?
Yeah,
Fluid.
I got thank Joe for that. He came up with that.
Look, somebody on this right side is going to get over to the left. It's going to happen. It always does.
Well, I would say this: you got, 1 and 2, they could be exchangeable any week. I mean, these are 2 top dogs, but also, what really where it gets interesting is 3 through 9 or 3 through 8. I mean, that can really shift because all of those are good teams. I mean, look at Independence. I mean, great coaching. Myers Park, Coach James, great coaching. Palisades, great coaching. Mallard Creek, great coaching. Audrey Kell, Butler with the return of Hales. This can really get interesting. So I can imagine 3 through 8 and possibly even with Providence could jump up and contend for that number 3 spot. So it might be Independence staying there, but there's a lot of teams that could contend for that. What's glaring to me is Chambers. I don't know if because I know people are saying they're down, but that's when you got the good teams, because it is when people say, oh, well, they're down, but it's still Chambers. Those kids still are playing for something. They still are a state championship, multiple state championship school. So it's still a standard over there. I mean, I know they switched coaches, and actually they got a former Carolina NFL player, Captain Munderland. Shout out to him and his staff. They're going to hold them to a high standard. So it ain't like they got a bad coach. I mean, all they can do is go up. So I think the only problem I see is Chambers at 14. I would definitely move them somewhere in the top 10.
Okay. In the comments, we have a lot from Billups. But chat administrator, thank you so much. That's why he's the best chat administrator around. That is the email address if you want to complain. That's your way to do it. Most of y'all don't. Most of y'all just text or DM me. But I always said if I got an email, I would read it on the air, and I wouldn't put your name out there. I would just put your opinion out there. Thank you, Joe. People do. And they have. For sure. Billups says Chambers is going to be decent. Stephanie, a long time ago, we used to call this motivation. We said we're going to do our motivation this week, and then we'd go into rankings. I have had teams post this stuff in the locker room. And then they tell me about it. and it's nothing personal, it's just an opinion, that's what it is.
And Pep, tell them we like to be proved wrong. We like kids to set goals.
Oh, I love it. I love to be proved wrong. I'll tell you, one year, and a producer, you might remember this, it was Harding and Berry, and that was when we used to switch sidelines. And I predicted Harding to beat Berry. And, man, I went to the Berry sideline. Them kids were cussing me out.
They talked that whole second half, man. The whole second half. Now we just stay on one side now.
Did they win?
Remember that?
Yes, Berry won the game. Yeah.
Oh, convincingly. It wasn't a close game. And they let him have it the whole second half.
It was bad.
And Pep, I don't think our fans realize that we embrace it. Like we embrace it. Like we don't make these predictions because they're just opinions. It's not the end all. But I love obviously I'm a coach. You coach Pep too. Is that I love when kids can take stuff positive and turn it into, because you're starting to put stuff in your toolkit for life. You get what I'm saying? Like when I was told I wouldn't be nothing growing up, that motivated me to be the man I am now. I didn't hate the person that said it. You get what I'm saying? Like I still talk to that person. I still tell them I love them. And I thank them because that person motivated me just as better than someone telling me I could do it. So guess what?
Yeah, these days everyone takes something as disrespect, and I think we use that word way too much.
You do know what disrespect is. You know what real disrespect is. Disrespect is you not being mentioned in some cases.
Exactly.
If people are talking about you, that means you have something of value. So I just think sometimes it be fake motivation. Sometimes they got to boost themselves up, you know, and because we do it as coaches. I mean, we'll take anything.
So Brian Hales told me, he said, if you guys put something out there and I think I can use it, I'm gonna use it.
Speaking of Brian Hales putting stuff out there, I'll leave that alone.
Lee, I know where you're going, man. Let's leave that alone. So Porter says Huff will have one of the best defenses in North Carolina history by the end of the year.
Well, they got one of the best DCs in North Carolina history, Chachi Sullivan.
We saw him last week.
Yeah, I think we did. I think he was on the show. But real talk, that's my guy. That's my dude. That's my brother. So yeah, I believe that.
Billups, I got text when I put it on Instagram 2 days ago. I'm not getting text now. Let's just say the people that were texting me, they're busy right now. So
what is Billups talking about? PG-13 Raw?
I don't know. He's got his own show in the comments.
That's me.
That's why he's over there. Oh man. All right. Well, let's move on to the next slide here. This is the introduction of the Dirty Dozen, and the Dirty Dozen is our regional ranking. It is not sponsored, so if you would like to sponsor it, hey, feel free to reach out. Not a very high price. A very high price at all. You might be able to pay me off in wings or an air conditioner.
No, hold on, Pep. They could pay us off in wings. Tell them,
right? Us.
We want some dibs on the us.
Pay me off in wings.
We like wings too.
Right.
Who is the Dirty Dozen by? What does it say? Coach Dub up there? Does it say producer? No, it's by Pep Man.
Well, you need to share your wings.
That's who it's by.
If it'll give me some
now,
wings,
if you guys want your own segment, then yeah, we can share in that.
If it'll give me wings, you can put my name right up there.
or Pep, you ain't even got to put her name up there. Just get us some extra wings. Be good. Hey Pep, you remember you shared your buffalo shrimp with me when we went to Hooters?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, changed my life. And I would have never ordered that if it wasn't for you. So you're a sharing guy. Just share your wings with us.
We'll discuss that after the show. All right. So in the Dirty Dozen, I've got Huff 1 and West Charlotte 2, and then Providence Day 3, Weddington 4, Independence 5, Mooresville 6, Charlotte Christian 7, Myers Park 8, Crest 9, Ashbrook 10, Monroe 11, and then Palisades at 12. So, and then on the edge, Sun Valley, South Point, and Belmont, Charlotte Catholic, Mallet Creek, and Shelby. Now, keep in mind, the Dirty Dozen includes Mecklenburg, Gaston, Cleveland, Union, Iredell, Cabarrus counties for consideration. So that's where we pull these from. Other people have different rankings from a regional standpoint, and they've got different people ranked higher. Once again, they're all opinions. What do you guys think about this listing here?
I don't see anything I would like move at the moment.
It's solid, Pep. I like that you put Ashbrook because Gaston County, we don't get a lot of love. And from outside, we don't get a lot of love. But Ashbrook is definitely deserving of being in on this list. But also, go ahead, Pep.
Yeah, no. I think for Ashbrook, they're a 6A state title contender.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a pretty good classification, but I think they're that good. When you have 3 really high level returning offensive linemen, they don't have a question at the quarterback spot. They don't have a question at running back. They picked up a couple of receivers. And then defensively, they're always good, and you got Caleb Gordon in the middle. kind of ties the front end and the back end all together. So they're absolutely deserving.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would look at too, like on the edge, and this is teams I'm talking about on the edge, not debating the top 12, because it's your list, but just kind of I want to highlight some teams as well. Country Day could be a factor.
Now that's gonna surprise people. Why you say that?
I just think Country Day, obviously you know Drew. Drew's been coaching the Queen City Bowl. You're familiar with Drew. Drew's a hell of a coach. But also I think that talent is starting to come together for him. I mean, you see them take some steps from the previous year, last year. They was much improved last year. And that wasn't by mistake. That wasn't by coincidence. And again, Drew develops through JV. So he's had a great JV program. Now he's bringing those kids up because we played them in JV for the last 8 years or something like that, I think, up until last year. But he's consistently had a JV program. He got kids in the system that knows what to expect and what he wants from them. They got a heck of a program. We don't talk a lot about Taguchi over there as the AD athletic director, right? So they got great leadership. Taguchi came from Huff, so he knows what a championship culture looks like in conjunction with Coach Whitman. I mean, how much great football has that coach seen, right? With his dad, legendary Coach Whitman. So don't be surprised about Country Day. Also, I want to show some major love to some of my smaller programs. Community School of Davis.
In the Dirty Dozen?
No. Hey, you remember what I said? I'm not Pep. See, I did my disclaimer earlier.
All right, now we got to create a shout out segment. Now we can do that. I can create a shout out segment by Coach Dub, and then we can get a sponsor for it. That's how you get your win.
I'll find one. I'll find us a sponsor for that. Shout out.
Hey, okay.
No, I just because I want to highlight some areas, teams that people might not be familiar with or might not really kind of show love. So this is more on the edge and spotlights. But I'm going to spotlight Community School of Davis. I think they're going to be actually absolutely good. I think they're going to be a factor in 2A. And I mean, obviously, Corvian made it to the state championship. So you got to shout them out. They're going to be a factor this year. So wanted to kind of shout those teams out. I think they could be on the edge as well.
All right, so the comments are getting interesting. So let's go there.
Warm up there.
Let's see here. All right, first of all, Mizzle, you gotta shoot me a DM for that. I can't just do that. You gotta DM me, and then we'll work it out. We have a new pop-up guest. This is a new thing.
But B, because you're the producer. He been just letting anybody on the show. Let me.
Now, hold on. Now, Friday Night Live,
I'm gonna be quiet.
Access.
It ain't often. It ain't often I keep quiet. Don't expect it, but I'm gonna keep quiet for now. Very rare.
See, y'all don't know producer's the one, man. Y'all think I'm something or Coach Dub something? No, it's producer, man.
Yes, it goes down. B is the one out of all of us.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
He ain't innocent.
Oh man.
Joe Hughes says Ashbrook and Crest could easily be flip-flop. They are both that good. Yeah. And that was a tough choice too. You know, I was going back and forth about it, but Crest is just so explosive offensively. With the quarterback Eli Hamrick and their receivers that they have, good offensive line, and then the two guys on defense and the Pettis and Surratt at safety spot.
That was a really good game last year, if I recall.
It was a good game last year.
That was a good game.
Yeah, we were there. Yeah, absolutely. Joe also says he likes seeing Palisades on there. You know, I had a good little back and forth with Coach Simmons, and a lot of people, man, they still don't know, what they have, and I still don't know who's disrespecting them, but they are mad. They are mad down there.
Coach Simmons always mad.
And I guess it's just the talk within the city that's disrespecting, but I told him, I said, look, you're not getting no disrespect from us. So I want to make that very clear. I'm not trying to get fussed at on the sideline. James Law says he's not a RG Kell fan, but no RG Kell even on the edge. Well, I'll be honest with you, James. Sun Valley and RG Kell scrimmage last Friday, Sun Valley beat them, in the scrimmage. So preseason stuff like this, that head-to-head, kind of goes into, the decision process. So that's what I would say. But I think they're going to be good. Bills, I think you mean sleeper, not sleepy, but I get your point.
So you don't want to be sleepy. You want to be a sleeper, not sleepy.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna be sleepy. They'll be a sleeper. Let's see here. Big Eye is in the comments tonight.
Oh, that guy.
I saw you pop up, Big Eye, but then you disappeared. I don't know what was going on with your phone, but yeah, good to see you, man.
Bad signal in the drive-thru, I guess.
So Big Eye is saying Ashbrook and Crest over Charlotte Christian. Now, I will say this. I saw Christian in that same jamboree last week against Providence, and they looked good. I mean, really good, offensively and defensively. So I'll be honest with you, that had an effect on me. They're always good, but they look like ready to go good. Like week one, we're ready right now. Jamal Rule is the truth at running back, committed to Nebraska. I saw why. They have a receiver, Vince Rosen, committed to Air Force. Air Force got a steal because Vince Rosen, I put it out on Twitter, he made an incredible diving catch down the sideline. Whew, they're D1 stuff. And then defensively, they have 3 solid college-level linebackers in the Kilgannon twins and Jacob Simmons, who has an offer from App State. Those guys drive the defense. Henry Holbert in the secondary at the safety spot is really good, and their D-line is feisty, man. They get off the ball, shooting gaps. They are good. They are really good. And I know a lot of people, haven't seen them, but I'm telling you, that's one reason why I've got them up there. Let's see here. All right, I think that's everything we got right now. I'm reading the comments. You guys are crazy. Let's move on. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to put something up. I saw. Let me go back up to it. Some of y'all are wanting predictions. We don't do predictions anymore. That's an executive decision. I know some people do predictions, but we don't do them anymore, mainly because we had a couple incidents, not recently, but a couple years ago. We had a couple incidents that people got in their feelings, and if we were wrong about something, they would really be aggressive about telling us that we were wrong. And some of it went over the edge, and I made a decision that we're not going to do it anymore. And it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be lighthearted. We talk and we analyze the games, but it went too far. It went too far. That person is not on the show anymore. The situation I'm referring to, but it went too far. So you won't get predictions out of us. I might do them, just on my own. I've been going back and forth about it, but you won't see him on the show this year because it was just ridiculous, to be honest with you. And I'll leave it at that. All right. Let's talk about some games. All right. We are in week 1, of course, and we've got 2 big games, or I should say 2 big events going on in Charlotte. And I'm going to welcome Big Eye Shelby to the show. Just getting out of practice.
What's up, cuz? What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good.
Why you got your hat to the side like that? Man?
Been a long week, man.
It's game week, man. You supposed to be fired up.
Game week, baby.
There you go.
Game week, man.
No long week. It's a long week for me. I ain't got no air.
We picking these games right here.
No.
We just had a
Oh,
whole
I just-
no more picks. Picks are retired. They're banned now.
I'm ready to pick.
Nope, banned.
You want to pick?
Yeah, I can pick out of these. Yeah.
Go ahead. What's your picks?
All right, let's see. What Huff at South Point? I think that's going to be a good game, man. I think these two teams are equally matched in a lot of areas. I like Huff in the tight one, in the close one. I like Huff in the close one. Then you got West Charlotte versus Grimsley, two defending state champions. It's gonna be tough. I'll take West Charlotte in this one. Myers Park, J. and Robinson. I like Myers Park in that one. Butler in the Olympic. I'll take Butler. Mooresville and Weddington. Give me Weddington. Independence versus Gaffney. There's no question which way I'm going in that one. Roseville and Mallard Creek. I'll go Roseville. Shelby Kings Mountain. You know where I'm going in that one. I'm going Shelby, man.
This is Big Eye Shelby's prediction segment sponsored by Wings, etc.
You say Wings, etc.
Hey, cuz I'm about to say
10 wings for $10. Sauce is 99 cents each.
Hey, cuz I was about to say, if you would have picked South Point, I didn't want Chachi to come back up here.
Don't get me started again on that, man.
Oh, God.
I'm messing with you.
Oh, man.
Hey,
All right.
let me say something, Pep, real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I've talked to Chachi since me and Chachi chopped it up, and he said you his guy. Y'all like to go back and forth during pregame. He said you his guy.
Man, he said I was his guy last time and went in on me, so I gotta see him in person. I gotta talk to my guy in person, man. I gotta talk to my guy in person, man.
Hey, y'all need to go live in y'all pregame. We gotta see that. That's a show within a show.
Nah, man. Hey, man. Talk to my guy, man. Ain't got nothing to worry about, man.
He said it. He definitely said it was all love. Though.
We got to bring him back on the show, though, man.
Quentin Chavis, welcome to Football Focus Weekly. I have no control.
Immediately,
I have no control on my own show.
What's crazy about it was literally like 2 minutes after you did a whole little segment about we don't do them anymore, and then 2 minutes later he was doing his predictions. But what I will say, looking at this,
Yeah, I did my predictions. If anybody, be doing parlay cards on the high school games, man, I just gave you some good picks.
oh man,
What the heck?
high school parlay.
Don't say that.
You're gonna get us taken off the air.
Some people do that. We don't. Some people do that, though.
No, we don't.
Well, those people that do that deserve to be slimed. Who the heck does a parlay on high school? Get out of here.
People pick who they think gonna win and bet.
No, you said parlay.
Yeah, parlay. Yeah, they get a list of games and say, "Hey, take the spread."
Who does the spread?
There's guys out there that do it. I don't know.
Who is the odds? Who the odds maker for North Carolina football? That's what I need. I'm curious.
Whoever
now.
sets the card, set the odds.
Huh. I will admit I'm intrigued. But anyway, what I was gonna say, man, is Coach Dubs talk about ducking smoke all the time. But what I like about this, nobody's ducking any smoke on here. These are good teams scheduling other good teams to start the season off. So iron sharpens iron. So that's what I like about this, man. There's nobody scheduling any type of easy opponent. They're going right at it immediately.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. So, first of all, Bank of America Stadium on Friday, and AJI won. And I agree. I think they did it because the Panthers are playing tomorrow night against the Steelers in preseason at the stadium. So Friday made probably a lot more logistical sense. But yeah, I wish it was on a different night. Because we would get an even bigger crowd for the lineup they have. But at 4:00, the first game, which is Huff against South Point, Huff has a lot of talent. Highlighting Samari Matthews, the cornerback committed to Texas. And then South Point has a very talented DB as well, and Jazavian Currents, the safety, committed to South Carolina. My thoughts, real quick. Where did Big Guy go?
Somebody got him. He picked against him and they got him. That's why you don't do picks. Someone picked against somebody and they took him out that fast, man. That's crazy.
Did the high school bettors get him?
Yep. He got too loose lip, man. He
Anyway.
got him that fast.
I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Typically, early in the season, offense is behind defense in terms of development, and these teams both have really good defenses. There's a lot of talent, when you get a lot of talent on the field like this, special teams can be a major factor. Really, with kickoff and punt returns, because the skill talent is off the charts for both of these teams. And the coaching staffs know each other very well. Of course, you guys know Bobby Collins, the head coach of South Point, was formerly the head coach at Huff. And, in Chachi's interview, he admitted that Bobby Collins was the one that brought him to Huff initially, when the school opened. So obviously they know each other very well. And you're going to see, some high-level coaching on both sides, in this game. They faced each other in the 7-on-7 competition over the summer. So there might be some knowledge, scheme-wise, from that too. So any other thoughts on this big game here?
I'm going to say this. I think it's going to come down to special teams play. I think this is going to come down to special teams. I mean, because you got two good staffs. And like you said, Bobby is familiar with what Chach like to do. But yeah, this is a good one. This is the definition of not ducking smoke. They went out and got what could be one of the better teams in South Carolina in South Point. So,
they are a state title contender in South Carolina for sure.
And look, shout out to, and I know I do my shout out segment. Shout out to Fat J. That's the one that committed to Currents. Shout out to the Currents family, man. They've been a staple in that community. They connect a lot of dots with that community. So shout out to my Currents family.
Good deal. In the comments, y'all are funny, man. Talking about high school football betting. Jared Gatewood says people are betting on the Little League World Series. Good gracious. Who bets on Little League baseball, man? How is that even a thing?
Man, you got dudes tailgating, getting drunk at high school football games. Not at our games, but
I mean, I know that happens. I mean, but still,
I'm talking about in the school parking lot. Again, not our parking lot, but I went to games like we on travel away games, and they're getting drunk in school parking lots. I won't say no names, but the schools know who they are.
Our next game is West Charlotte against Grimsley, the second game of the Keep Pounding Classic at Bank of America Stadium. This is an 8 p.m. start. West Charlotte, I'm going to talk about the quarterbacks real quick. West Charlotte's quarterback, Jamori Nichols, Coach Griner has called him just as good as Faison Brandon, the Grimsley quarterback who is committed to Tennessee, a 5-star recruit on various services. The cool thing about this is a matchup of the two state champions from 4A and 3A last season. When you get something like this, I think the lines of scrimmage are going to be a major key. Grimsley's going to have to be able to handle the West Charlotte speed in the front seven. Can West Charlotte block Andrew Rogers, who had almost 30 sacks last season at Dudley, who's now at Grimsley? Can they block them long enough to get the ball in the playmaker's hands on the outside? I think West Charlotte's got to stay disciplined in coverage. Watches some tape on Faison Brandon. He's incredibly accurate to all areas of the field. He's not a 5-star just because he's going to Tennessee. He's legit. Grimsley's got to tackle well in space. We've seen the Lions on highlights already in scrimmages, being able to do special things in space with the ball in their hands. What do you guys think about this one?
I like it. I mean, whenever you can match up two state champions from the previous year. It's going to be a good ball game. It's going to tell a lot. And I like these matchups week one because both teams are trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to get time for what you need to work for the year. Sometimes that takes a week or two, or maybe a couple games to get clicking the way you want to.
Mhm.
This is a game where it better work. It better click fast. So I think it's a great game.
I agree with you. Producer, are you excited to see this one? Fumble on the play.
Uh-oh.
He don't even know. He don't even notice. He just talking.
It's back now. Hey man, look, just like it's week one. You got some kinks to work out, you know, man.
No. You fumbled last game too, man. And then you had 2 weeks off. Then you come back in and you fumble again.
I recovered both, but yeah, really excited about this one, man. Like Dub said, it's always cool when you can match up previous year's champions just to come together and kind of just settle it on the field. Should be really good, like you say. You got a lot of D1 talent on both teams, so it should be really exciting. I mean, you can probably, a lot of talent in one spot. Great coaching on both sides, great players. So all the ingredients for a great game. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Mike Eddy, known West Charlotte fan, says KD Cotton will shine under them lights. Well, I know his mother, who's usually here. I ain't seen her tonight, but she would appreciate that for sure. Karen Belk is saying, wondering which teams get the sunny side of Bank of America. And it's always got them Patriots, I tell you. Whether it's going back and forth. There was rain in the forecast, but now it's kind of backing off. So I think there's a slight chance of rain Friday, but
mostly overcast, high of about 82. Come on now, I got this, man. I got this.
So producer is our official meteorologist. You didn't know he got his what's the AMS and
that man. Head of CFI weather. It should be a bit cooler than it was last year. So
it was pretty cool last year.
It's gonna be even cooler.
Well, I'm always down for that.
I don't want anyone complaining about talking about the sun was in their eyes or we on the sunny side of the field, man. Like Ms. Belk said, it didn't slow them down at all. So
Joe says there's an AccuWeather forecast. It's false.
It might be. It might have changed. That was a couple days ago. It might have changed.
Well, let's get an updated forecast from the WSOC weather.
No, let me do that.
Well, I got you right here.
And Pep, I guarantee it's gonna change in 30 minutes.
Probably.
This weather is crazy.
Friday, it says mostly cloudy, 79 degrees with a 5% chance of rain.
I did say overcast and I said 82. I wasn't too far off.
That just means it's gonna rain.
That is official from the WSOC weather app. It's a great app too. Yeah, it's got everything you need on it. Anyways, the next event going on in Charlotte is the CLT kickoff night at Memorial Stadium. This is Saturday night. First game is at 5 p.m. between Myers Park and J.M. Robinson. Myers Park has a ton of talent on their team. Rodney Dunham at the edge, committed to Notre Dame, is the guy we'll talk about. Really dynamic, great get off. And the funny thing here is Myers Park's used to these big environments. They played at the Bank of America Stadium last year against Independence. So, the stage won't be too big for them. J.M. Robinson, Elijah Shue, offensive lineman committed to Elon. You're probably going to see Dunham and Shue go up against each other, which would be a great matchup, offensive, defensive line-wise, if you like watching the lines of scrimmage. Myers Park, like I said, they got a good bit of talent. I think in this game, they got to get off to a fast start and make Robinson play from behind. when you start really digging into it, you see Myers Park with all these, kind of high-ranked guys that they have. DeMond Lewis also on the defensive line, Brody Keefe at the receiver spot, Josh Hines, the safety spot, committed to Charlotte. Brody's committed to Duke. Lewis has several Division I offers, not committed just yet. When you got all that talent, J.M. Robinson is going to be playing from a underdog standpoint. They're kind of reloading from a number of key positions after a strong season last year where they made the third round of playoffs. But if you let them hang around, Coach Seidel and his staff, they're a really, really well-coached group. They're going to cause problems if they hang around, in this game.
They remind me again, what classification did they get put in with the real?
J.M. Robinson is in 5A.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got a 8A versus 5A matchup here.
And Pep, they should be favorites to win it. J.M. Robinson in 5A, right?
They are one. They are one of the favorites.
One of the favorites.
Yeah. I still think they're the best team in Cabarrus County for sure, like we did in our previews. I think if Myers Park can stop the run, I like their chances. We know J.M. Robinson has two really good running backs in L.J. Watson and Ennis Styles. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago when previewing Cabarrus County. Flipping on the other side for J.M. Robinson, they can't give up big plays. They got to hang in the fight and make Myers Park earn it. You can't have turnovers. You can't have those kind of things, to give them short fields. Any other thoughts on this one?
I mean, all these great games. So I don't want to be Captain Obvious, but I think we might get a surprise in this game. We ain't doing predictions, so I won't say it. But I think we're gonna get a surprise in this game.
Okay. All right. We'll watch out for a surprise. Well, I will. I'll be there. I don't know who else is gonna be there with me, but I'll be there. Let's see here. Second game in the CLT kickoff night. This is an 8 p.m. start, roughly, depending on how the first game goes. We have Butler against Olympic. The big story here is, of course, Brian Hales coming back to Butler after taking a year off in brief retirement. Y'all give me a second. I gotta kick my dog out of the studio. He's making too much noise. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
And he gets on me talking about I fumbled, but he gotta go be an animal control over there. But he says I fumbled. You gotta be dog catcher over there, but I fumbled. You see what kind of working environment we got, man. But anyway, interested to see this one. Butler got a very experienced, obviously great coach coming back. So just kind of see where he and I'm sure he'll just pick up where he left off at the end of the day. Olympics been pretty good for some years. So also, there's not a bad game on this list right here.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what Coach Hale has in store because obviously we know. I just feel like if we look at what Butler was in the previous year and compare them to what we think they're going to be this year, you're talking about two different teams. I mean,
Butler won last year. I got to point to this, but last year they won what was it 5-5 or 4-7, somewhere like that.
I believe they were 4-6 last.
4-6,
maybe
okay.
4-7 after the playoffs.
I know this might sound silly, but they were probably the best 4-6 team you've ever seen. I know that some people are not going to agree with a statement like that. They're going to say you are as good as your record, but they had a lot of close games, and they were right there with a lot of those losses. So the talent is there. The talent never dropped off. They just caught some bad breaks.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach Ferb is he's a great coach. It has nothing to do with coaching. It does have something to do with culture. And Coach Hales, he has that community. He's one of the GOATs in CMS. So he has that culture. He's won a lot. He knows that community, and it's something to be said about someone that knows that community, that knows the ins and outs, knows some shortcomings, the highs, the lows, whatever the case may be. So I think that the culture will be a little bit different. Not saying it was bad last year, because it wasn't. Like producer said, that was probably one of the best 4-6 teams that would ever put together. But I just think now Butler get back to being Butler, and that's going to start in the trenches. You know,
He only been gone a year. It's not like he's been gone, retired for 10 years and coming back and things are so different. It's just a short break, so they'll be really good.
Yeah, and producer, to that point, I think where Coach Hales excels at is on the offensive line. He schematically, offense-wise, that's where he's very strong at. If you had a point of emphasis. So obviously, y'all know, both of you guys know, championships, games are won in the trenches. So whenever you put emphasis on those trenches like he does, you're gonna win a couple games. You're gonna win. I think they win more games than 4 or 5 this year. They're gonna win some games because I think they'll control the line of scrimmage. But again, I won't do the prediction. I'm gonna follow the rules. I'll follow the rules.
Hey, Big Al already broke him. I mean, what the heck? If you want to predict it, man.
Shout out to Olympic. They got a good program over there. Coach Thompson, athletic director, Coach Stephanie. I would say Butler in this
one. All right. I want to highlight a couple kids because before the dog interrupted me rudely, I wanted to shout out athlete Tyler Dent, and then for Olympic, of course, the quarterback Chance Cato. I think both of those guys are going to be major impact players in this one for sure. So Mooresville and Weddington, this is a big-time regional game that has gotten some run as an option outside of the special games going on at Bank of America Stadium on Friday night. Started thinking about Mooresville. Of course, you know, they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. There's been, you know, some players that have come into the program that will help them, I think, on both sides of the ball. Most notably, Jace McCallum, the defensive end / edge guy, committed to Vanderbilt in the SEC. That's going to really enhance the defensive line for the Blue Devils. Of course, you start talking about defense, Weddington, you know, is probably the gold standard when you start looking at the area and the players that they have. With the twins, the Harris twins, everybody knows if you're watching this show. And then, of course, Thomas Davis Jr. at the linebacker spot. Those three, you know, power that side of the ball to be dominant at times. When you start looking at it, once again, like I said with Huff and South Point, it could be a lower scoring game. I think the key for Mooresville, they got to find a way to run the ball. It's going to be tough to sit back and try to throw it a lot against a pass rush like Weddington has on the, you know, in their defensive front. You know, and then for Weddington, they got some talented receivers in Kelson Tate and Jonathan Manley. Getting the ball in those guys' hands on the outside, you know, might be the best way to attack this Mooresville defense. Because I think in the front seven especially, they are really strong, not only on the D-line, but at the linebacker level with Tanner Finnerty, you know, kind of patrolling, you know, from that area. So it's going to be some good football. I think they're going to be two well-coached teams, you know, talented in all areas. Weddington is a grass field, so if we do get weather, the running game will be very important. Of course, chat administrator will talk now. He says, feed J-Man the ball. And if you don't know who he's talking about Mooresville running back Jadarius McCombs, who's coming off a strong season last year and a bit of a timeshare situation, now projected to be the number one guy for Mooresville. And if he's having a good game, you know, it's a good sign because Mooresville controlling time of possession. and they're keeping the Weddington offense off the field. So, yeah, that's it's a good statement there. Good statement there. All right. I was hoping Big Eye would hang around, but I guess he had things to do. But Independence going down to Gaffney, South Carolina, and taking on, oh gosh, what's that mascot? The Indians. Yeah. Joe, don't yell at me. But once again, Gaffney is very talented. They have a guy who came from Kings Mountain and running back Josiah Hill. He's kind of, I think they kind of have a timeshare situation going on there. But they both run the ball very well. And in Independence, of course, they have their own, duo in the backfield with Jaden Jones and Travis Hill. And I just want to say Jaden Jones, one of the best players in Charlotte, as well as the state of North Carolina. We named him to the Prep Red Zone 7A All-State team that's out, which is a free article, by the way. If you go to Prep Red Zone North Carolina, you can click on that and see who all made all classifications except for 8A. 8A should come out soon, but all those all-state teams are free, so go check that out. See if your favorite player made it, and then if they didn't, shoot us a message and say, hey, you should have put so-and-so on the all-state team. We like feedback, That's how we do our jobs better. But going down to the reservation, it's a big task for Independence, but they have scrimmaged Gaffney a couple times the past couple years, so it's not foreign to them. I don't think they're going to be afraid of the moment. It'll be a big crowd for sure. Coach W, any thoughts on this one?
I think I won't do a prediction on this one. I'll stick to it, but it's going to be a good game. Kind of contrasts and styles. I like the matchup that Independence came to Gaffney because typically we get to Gaffney. If they come to North Carolina, they're going to play Crest or whatever the case may be. But I like it. It's just two different environments, two different areas, two different mindsets. Like Independence, you got the Mint Hill, the Charlotte area, and Gaffney, you got, the outskirts, it's kind of the country. They got great barbecue. Appreciate Joe for the hookup when I went down there. But it's going to be interesting. I think like what we talk a lot about when you got two different, not saying schematically styles, but I'm talking about more cultures. So who can dominate that? Who can impose their will more? And Independence going down to Gaffney, that might kind of give Gaffney more of a nod. But I mean, it could be a coin toss on this.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Gaffney coming up to North Carolina playing teams because in 2017 they came and played at Harding, and Harding won that game. And the Gaffney fans were mad. I mean, they were sending us messages and, just cussing and all kinds of stuff. I think they thought it was going to be really easy because of Harding's reputation. But, that was the year, Harding caught lightning in a bottle. So,
well, Pep, to your point, and that's what I want to hit on, and that's what I was alluding to, it's different between having a football school in a football city or town. Gaffney is a football town. So everything, as soon as you hit that city limit, you get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we've been in towns like that where I think one of our coaches stopped at Bojangles and one of the employees was like, man, I wouldn't eat here if I was you. So, because he had his shirt on. He straight up told him. I'm not saying that it happened in Gaffney, but they love their football team. That's their pride and joy. So shout out to both teams for making this happen. I think this is an intriguing matchup. It could go either way.
So Joe is sharing that should be a running back showcase. To our point, mentioned the other guy for Gaffney, Jaden McDowell, and it says Independence also must prepare for two quarterbacks. Interesting. Our buddy Coach Van Horn is offensive coordinator down at Gaffney, so they'll be well prepared for sure. Joe's also adding that Gaffney has a lot of options to burn with the skill guys, a whole lot of options on the table for Independence to ponder. So, see, Big Eye, if you were still here, you'd be getting this inside information. That's what happens when you miss out, man. That's what happens. In Rollsville at Ballard Creek. Rollsville has a ton of talent in their program. They lost, some guys to graduation, but they just reloaded with a ton more. Amir Brown, the running back, I saw him last year when they came down to play Butler. He's the real deal. He's got a ton of offers, and rightfully so. On the Mallard Creek side of things, Perry Justice, the quarterback, also playing safety per Coach Tinsley from Media Day. A little unusual to see a quarterback playing defense a lot as well, but he's got full confidence that they can do it. So, I think there's going to be a lot of young talent from Mallard Creek. We've heard about it. I just wrote about a 2029 kid who's looking really good right now. But when you got so much young talent coming up to a big showcase game like this, it helps that they're at home. I think Mallard Creek can keep it close. But Rollsville, obviously, we saw last year what they did to Butler. They're not scared to come down the highway and, put on a show. So this is an interesting game. It's an interesting game. One of the things I'm really curious to see what Mallard Creek does offensively. The last couple of years, that has been a bit of the Achilles heel when you talk about Mallard Creek. They do pretty well, defensively, but offensively, they just can't consistently produce enough points to advance, further than, second or third round of playoffs. So I really want to see what they do schematically on offense in this one. You want to add anything, Coach Doug?
Yeah, I would warn people, especially like I see comments and stuff, do not sleep on Mallard Creek. Mallard Creek in many situations are at their best when they're the underdog. I mean, we seen that last year when they Mallard Creek went to Ohio last minute and played a very talented team, one of the top teams up there.
That won the state titles, man.
That won the state title, and that's Ohio football. And they, from my understanding, they took that game last minute. It was like a replacement or something, with short turnaround and game planning. Because coaches would tell you they don't do it, but we know who's on our schedule a couple months leading to the season, so we can do our little research when we got a little spare time. They didn't have that, so that told me that they can adjust, and I think they like that role of underdogs. I mean, let's be honest, Coach Tinsley can coach, so he's going to have them prepared. It's just about executing. So I would be careful about sleeping on this game. This could shock some people.
So AJI1 is saying that Mallard Creek could be 0-5 with their strong schedule because they're a young team.
They won't be 0-5. I get what he's saying, though. That makes sense. If you look at it on paper, on the schedule, it's too much pride in that community. It's too much winning. They have a culture over there. There's too many factors. And that talent's going to grow up. So while they're young, they get a couple games under their belt. They can do some damage, but I don't see a Mallard Creek team going 0-5.
All right, there it is. Last game we'll talk about briefly is Shelby at Kings Mountain. This is a Cleveland County rivalry. Obviously, these two schools are not fans of each other, to put it mildly. You start talking about Shelby, you got to start with the quarterback, Land Farmer, incredibly talented young man, big arm. I think he should have more recruiting attention than he does, but that all will come in its own time. And then Kings Mountain, of course, you got to talk about William Vaughn. He's a kind of hybrid wide receiver, tight end prospect committed to Boston College. Very talented young man in his own right. But both of these teams have athletes in key positions that can make special plays. I think the big thing in this one is, can Kings Mountain force some turnovers? When Shelby's clicking with their passing game, spreading the ball all around. I see y'all in the comments. I'll get to that in a second. But when they're efficiently, passing the ball in their offense, they are very tough to stop. I think Kings Mountain's best chance is to get a pass rush and try to get, Farmer off of his spot, make him feel uncomfortable, and maybe try to force a couple turnovers. Because with all of the skill talents Shelby has, it's hard to cover all those guys, very well and efficiently. They're going to find somebody eventually, if they have time to throw the football. For Kings Mountain, if they can run the football, that might be their best defense this one. Time of possession, first downs, and keeping that Golden Line offense off of the field. In the comments, Tyrese Williams says it's not a rivalry. They've just been playing a long time. All right. And then conversely, Elon Sinatra says it's the oldest rivalry in NC. So there you go. Kendall Rudolph says Shelby by 30. Wow. That's something. Dub, you gonna add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm close. I'm close to Cleveland County, but you could throw records out the window with this team. I mean, the county is what it is. Any game within that county, because there's only 4 teams in that county that play football. So any matchup in Cleveland County, they take really good pride in. I mean, you see it all the time on these pages and stuff that their fans they're passionate about their teams, and it's a county rivalry. So I'm not sure if they'll beat them by 30, but it's a toss-up because it can go either way. I don't know about it being the oldest rivalry, but I think both teams, they have historical pride. You have to think about it. You got grandparents and their parents that played against each other, Shelby versus Kings Mountain. You're going to have, the last time I went to a Kings Mountain game, and I think it was them playing Shelby, you saw 2, 3, 4 generations of people there. Like you see tradition, like, you get people that played against each other in 19 whenever, right? Coming to these, and it might be their grandkids playing against each other, or their grandkids playing against each other. I mean, this is just a deep-rooted Cleveland County backyard dogfight. So I wouldn't make a prediction on this because either way you go, you could be wrong. Even if Shelby looks better or Kings Mountain look better, throw that out the window, man. These kids are playing for pride and they're playing for tradition, man. So
absolutely.
Hey.
All right. Joe weighed in. He says, for me, it's Canada Kings Mountain defensive backfield hold up, a lot of inexperience back there. Plus first start for quarterback KJ Bell. Can they get enough from the run game to keep him comfortable? I agree with you, Joe. I agree with you 100%. Elon Sinatra's now giving us a history lesson. So if you're in the comments, you can read all that.
See what I'm talking about? Dang. It's just like you got to go to those games to understand it. Like a lot of Charlotte area folk that don't go down to these back roads and don't experience this game. I mean, obviously, Pep, you've been there. It's an environment like no other, man. It's probably on the opposite side of going to Independence or West Charlotte with that hypeness, but it's just as electric. Like I love going to the Kings Mountain, Shelby, even Burns, man, and Crest games. Like I went to a Crest game one time. I mean, it's a sight to behold. It's a good sight, but so I'm not surprised. 1923, Pep. Jeez.
Wasn't even thought about.
My grandparents wasn't thought about.
I know, man. All right. That Man's Players is back once again. If you have a big game or your son or your player has a big game on Friday night, send stats to me on Twitter, and you could be featured on our weekly segment throughout the season. You'll start seeing that next week. Also for linemen, you got a big block, a big sack, a pancake. We want to know about it and give you some love too. So please reach out to me. Let me know. Coach Dub does a great job of sending me his team stats every week. Coaches, you can do the same. And then that'll help get your players highlighted on Pep Man's Players. And we can also tie that in with Prep Red Zone North Carolina as well. So you can get honored not only locally, but statewide also. So excited to bring that back once again. All right. I think that's it. There's only two of us. We don't have to do slime time. Coach Dub, I wish you good luck on Friday night against Fred T. Ford. Once again, I'll be at Bank of America on Friday. I'll be at Memorial Stadium on Saturday. If you see me, say hello. Producer will be with me Friday. Shaquan will be with us on Friday. He'll be on the field. We'll be in the press box on Friday. Saturday, I'll be, kind of all over the place. And Shaquan, I think, will be there Saturday as well. So on behalf of everybody doing things, getting ready for week 1 tonight, and Coach Dub, Robert Washington, I'm the Pet Man, Matt Morrow. Thank you for watching Football Focus Weekly, the best high school football show in the Carolinas and beyond. Good luck Friday night. No Friday Night Live, but it will be back next week because the Bank of America game is going to go so long, and there's a post-game press conference and all that. That's why there won't be Friday Night Live this week, but there might be something Saturday morning. We'll see. That'll be a game time decision. Anyway, good night from the producer also.
Good night. Good luck, all the coaches, all the players out there. Let's have a good season.
Hey, praying for good health, a good, successful season on and off the field for all the players and coaches out there. Salute.
And make sure to celebrate with KFC hot wings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad idea.
Good night.